All right, and to take a look at some of these stories, joining me in studio this morning, we have Deki Omukoba. Good morning and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
We also have Bernard Wakoli. Good morning and thank you for joining us. So let's start off with that story. And this, of course, was brought about by the initial report that was given by CS Rotich, saying that Kenya is not doing very well financially. And one of the ways to get out of that was either to borrow or cut some of the money to the county governments. Of course, the Council of Governor head, just for Nanok, has come out to say they're not having any of that. Deki, of course, devolution being something that we're still battling and trying to get going, this would not be the right time, I guess, to have finances not being given fully to the counties.
Yes, and I agree with you, because the truth of the matter is that devolution is still a baby that we are trying to raise up and to nurture and to bring up. So it would be, fair for us to be able to feed this baby, especially at these early stages, and not be able to deny the child the ability to grow. Of course, we have to be careful that whatever we are giving to it is beneficial in terms of how are they using, so that there has to be a level of accountability. But at the same time, that the recognition that county governments are also independent all by themselves, and they have been put in place to be able to raise the status of those counties. So I don't think that it is proper for the national government or treasury in that matter to go ahead back and try to, kind of police them, especially in matters of finances. There has to be a level of independence that they are given to be able to run some of these things. But also the county government have the responsibility to be able to raise their own funds through the taxes that they collect, which is something that they are still debating. Yes.
Absolutely, and it is found on all the dailies. We have it on page 3, I believe, of the Standard. Bernard, your thoughts on the CSA's proposal or suggestion at this point in time that cutting funds to the counties might be one of the ways to ensure that we stay afloat?
Yeah, first, I'll start by saying that what the CS said the other day was mainly aimed at justifying why he has to borrow or go for another Eurobond. Because when you tell people that a country is broke, then they will tell you, okay, go and borrow. And that's what I just wanted to do. People had been, skeptic about the whole thing of going and borrowing another Eurobond, as in borrowing another loan to pay another loan. On the issue of county governments, I would like to emphasize that Kenya is losing a lot of money in terms of through corruption. And if the government is really interested in making sure that the revenue collected is used as planned, then we are going to have a lot for the country, or for the allocation of the counties as enshrined in the constitution. But there's so much loopholes in terms of revenue collections. People are looting a lot of money. Then at the county level, there's no proper ways of ensuring that the money allocated are used for the intended purposes. The chairman of the Council of Governors, Nanok, has just indicated that the money that they received has been used to pay salaries. But yesterday I saw memos from county governments to members of their staff indicating that there will be no pay for, or there will be a delay for the February pay because there's no money from the exchequer. You see, so there's that contradicting kind of reports, both from the Council of Governors and from the county governments themselves. So there's need for, informed information with regards to the allocation and usage of funds.
All right, and looking at page 6 of the Nation, we have, now that you're talking about some of the information that is coming that is different, we do know that if you look at page 6 of the Nation, we have the CS Rotich again saying Kenya is not broke, declares minister. And like you mentioned earlier, Bernard, his point in this particular story is the fact that we're not broke when we have an opportunity to borrow. And it goes back to what you're saying, that maybe we're borrowing from Jack to pay John.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that we are so much interested in borrowing money that most Kenyans are not seeing how that money is being used for. And, we have been convinced, not once, not twice, that the money is being used invest for infrastructural development, which will see that Kenyans will see benefits in future, in the long term. But you see, as a country, as a developing country, although we need those long-term infrastructural development projects, but also Kenyans are interested in meeting their, their daily needs, as in there must be food, there must be clean water, there must be, those kind of things that, affect our daily lives. When you look at what's happening, I know the CS was talking to a number of young people yesterday and encouraging them to do business with the government. But I would like to tell you, Mike, that this business, especially at the county level, has differentiated so many young people who have tried to venture or invest in county governments. People take loans to go and do business at the county level, but at the end of the day, they are not paid, or the payment is delayed for even 2 years. So auctioneers come in, they take everything, and leaving young people at a level where they can't really manage to meet their needs. So as much as doing business with the government or county government is good, we need proper structures to ensure that once services have been delivered or goods have been delivered, payment are not delayed so much, because most of these young entrepreneurs depend on loans from banks, from friends, maybe from investments. And if they spend all their savings on supplying or doing business, and the payment takes 3 years, 2 years, or sometimes it doesn't even take, payment doesn't take place, because with the change of regimes from one governor to another, then another governor comes in. It says we want to review all the tenders on everything.
Yet the services were already
then
delivered.
The services have been delivered. Yeah. It's really the franchises young people.
And Deki, before we finish on this, just looking at, if we step back a little bit, during Kibaki's regime, we seem to finance ourselves 95% of the monies that Kenya used out of the collections and all that. But this seems to have taken a major, turnaround now with the Jubilee government, with all this borrowing, and where we are now. We remember IMF came out not too long ago to actually say that if we are not careful, then we are really getting to a place where it is not going to be sustainable.
Yeah, I think that it is a mixture of so many things, and sometimes is what we allow as a people and as a nation, what we allow to happen at different levels, county government and even at the national government level. As Bernard is saying, this issue of even delaying payments is something that, if we do not put pressure on it, then it will become acceptable or the norm, so that people just understand that if you do business with the government, you have to be prepared to wait for 2 or 3 years to be paid, which is absolutely wrong. I think that there has to be a level of accountability. If you offer services, there has to be, the other person has to do their part in terms of payment. And if they're not in a position to pay, then they should, ask for your services to begin with. So I think that this government, as you have said, or this nation, we have the capacity to be able to run things in order. But we allow issues of corruption, and we allow people to take positions and just be slack. And we just keep allowing that to continue. But I think we need to take charge.
Absolutely. And well, like they say, sometimes corruption does become a matter of life and death. Because when you look at some of the services, basic services that are supposed to be provided, and yet we can afford, if we were efficient with our money, they're not available. For instance, if you look at our referral hospitals, we've seen issues that are coming up. These are things that honestly by now should be running.
It should be running. And still on corruption, Mike, it's very unfortunate that as a country we have accepted corruption to be now
the order of the day.
The order of the day. As in fact, there's a research that was conducted, I think, last year, and the findings indicated that most young people, over 50% of young people, now have accepted and condone corruption, as in they think corruption is a way of life. And what we are facing as a country, the main challenge we are facing is the loopholes that are in the revenue collections and expenditure. Every person now is interested in get rich quick, especially young generation. People are not interested in working hard and making sure that they go through the way. They say the end justifies the means. Everybody wants to accumulate, then, where do you accumulate from? From the government. And, all civil servants have now known this corruption to be, part of their daily lives. You go for a service in a government office, you pay for the services, but at the end of the day, this person wants you to, to pay again something.
They call it facilitation
facilitation fee. Why are you paying? Why are we as Kenyans paying double the services that we are supposed to pay? And where does this facilitation fee go? Then with the Kenya Revenue Authority, there's so much, we have been told that they have not met their targets. For the last even 2 years, they are not meeting their targets of collection. Now, if they seal the loopholes from the port, those revenue collection centers, to ensure that the revenue collected is utilized for the intended purposes, then we are going to beat this corruption. But for the time being, unless we have, mindset and a change of the way we do things, attitude towards corruption, then
we'll end up being in trouble. And well,